Yeah.
That's fine. So I'm going to walk through the CV and tell you what I think that can be improved,
Yeah.
and then give you a CV copy what I think that could be like done better
Okay.
with
Yeah.
this basically.
Yeah.
One thing with this CV that I have noticed is that there is lack of hierarchy. So everything is quite like condensed and hard to read.
Yeah.
For example, your name is the exact same size as everything here.
Yeah.
Same like with the work experience. Everything is a little bit. It's hard to know what is grouped together, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So to with a different approach, I would create something like this, where it's like a lot easier to differentiate the sections.
Yeah.
In terms of the initial profile, I would specialize that a little bit more. So I would probably say what you want to do. So if you want to do front end developer in React, I would
Right.
create a title and put it here. That way, when this review is being reviewed, they know exactly what they're looking at, and what you want to do.
Yeah.
In terms of the location, I think that's a little bit subjective, but you don't really have to put location in as long as they
Mhm.
know you're in the UK, which they
Yeah.
should know. And I only say that because if you work in Leicester and you want to work at Manchester, or if you want, or if you don't care where you work at, then it doesn't really matter where you apply at. However, one business might. When I applied to London, for example, that company gave me an interview thinking that I'm based in London when I'm not.
Yeah.
And when I told them if we can schedule the interview at a different time because I'm at Liverpool, they stopped talking to me. So,
Right.
and that's because they wanted someone in London. But if you pretend that you're already in that city and go to the interview and talk with them, then you can negotiate the relocation later.
Yeah. Of course.
Whereas
Yeah.
if you put location at start, that can alienate you right
Yeah.
away.
Okay.
In terms of the personal statement, like a former math degree student that you code on a very basic level, I feel like for one that's not really unique because there are a lot of math degree students, so that doesn't really make you stand out. In terms of studied how to code on a very basic level, I wouldn't. That's kind of like shooting yourself in the foot because
Yeah.
you should let them figure out what level you're at instead of you telling them that you're at a basic level and then paying you less. If you
Okay.
say that you're just like a coder and here are my projects and let them decide how good you are, that's better because the thing is that titles they don't really matter like internship or junior, it's pretty much the same thing. The only difference is that you get paid less and that's it.
Mhm.
Same with the like we wanted to improve your coding with no coders, a well connected industry leading bootcamp. That's very subjective. Like if no coder says that yeah, like the best industry that's just marketing, like that doesn't matter for like a company in my opinion.
Right.
And everyone wants to be like a senior, so I wouldn't like put that.
Yeah.
I would like I would personally delete this unless you have something that's unique to you on why you're like different than other people.
Okay.
In terms of work, so Yeah, in terms of work experience, when I read that you work at retail assistant and you stock shares with new items and rotate this stock, that doesn't really tell you tell the interviewer why you're a good fit for a front end role or like a dev role. A CV is nothing more than a 30-second elevator pitch.
Mm-hmm.
A CV is there to see if you can do the job that you've applied to. They don't care if you've been working as a retail assistant or if you've been doing like flipping burgers, because that does not relate to the job that you applied for. The CV is meant to be there to see if if you're a good fit for that job. So I wouldn't put any work that's not related to like coding. What I would say is that if you have any skills that you can transfer, like communication skills and so on, that's something valuable for the business. So if you
Mm-hmm.
so like soft skills, if you gain any soft skills at such jobs, that would be a good thing to put on. Because right now, if they are reading about hiring a developer, and the first thing they say is that you stock shelves, that doesn't have any benefit to them knowing that, because it doesn't have like any skill that transfers over. So I would probably get rid of all of the experience and focus on coding projects. So what I would have is have lot of coders and put in your other projects here. And if you don't have enough, like if you have enough space, you can always put that you work at different jobs and that you've gained some soft skill or skills that are transferable.
Mm-hmm.
And I would probably put this as an education. So here what I've done is I've divided the education and experience. So you have a project called like North Coders games. So that's something I've put as education that you've done there. Because another thing with going to boot camps is that I've seen other CVs with the exact same project.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make you stand out either. So when they see that you had this kind of experience, I feel like they will look at this as just another like bootcamp project that others also put in. But I think it's good to show that you've done that as education, while have your experience, your personal project above the education. So like any app that you're working on, you can put hey.
Okay.
In terms of like technical skill, like that's a little bit. You say you're like a JavaScript intermediate level, but that doesn't make sense, because intermediate is something in between, like in between one and the other. So that would mean you're like a mid-dev JavaScript developer. But it seems that you're starting out, so I wouldn't like I wouldn't name yourself like beginner or intermediate. Let them figure that out anyway.
Yeah.
And same with like C#, like it can be beneficial to maybe have some other languages that you've been doing, but that doesn't really relate to like front end, which is what it seems that you may be applying for.
Yeah.
So I will take away the C#, this, and same with the operating systems. That's like expected of you, like anyway. So I will remove that. from
Okay.
here. So what I've done here is I've wrote your name at the top,
Mm-hmm.
have the position that you want to apply. So for example, a React developer, or if you do like back end, then you can put C# or whatever.
Yeah.
And that gives the interview, the person that reviews the CV, a clear goal on what you're applying for right away.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of your links, I saw that you have like online portfolio right here. I wouldn't use any like URL modifiers to make the URL smaller. I will just paste in the entire URL, and that's something I will
Okay.
put at the top so they can check right away.
Yeah.
So something like that, where your contact info is visible at the top. So you have your website, your GitHub, your email, and your phone number. So they don't
Yeah.
need to look somewhere where to contact you. Also, you see how you have different projects had. They were very like hard to see.
Yeah.
That's why hierarchy is quite important. And in terms of like the links right here, it's a little bit confusing because here you have the actual URL site, the link to the site, and here you have the GitHub for the back end, but there is no GitHub for the front end.
Yeah.
So I will just make this consistent and link the GitHub, and then if they click to the well, I will do something like this essentially, where you specify the project name, and then the live URL site, and then at the bottom you can have a naming convention for the Git repository, GitHub
Yeah.
repository, and then it's also a lot cleaner to like go over it. So some of the technical skills, what I will do is just focus on the key skills that you're applying for. If you- this is something that I would probably do if I was you. And then if something doesn't fit the front end and this server, then I will just put it like in orders if it's like needed.
Okay.
And here I put the Leicester Uni behind the education.
Yeah. Do you think it's better to have everything fit on one page, or?
I think that it's best to have one page because usually people don't have a lot of time to go through the CV anyway. But that
Yeah.
also depends on the company. And if you put your 2 or 3 best projects on the CV,
Yeah.
then you should have enough to like convince them that you're a good fit anyway.
Yeah. True.
Because if you start putting 1 or 2 or 3 pages, that may be irrelevant anyway. So you have some developers that are senior developers and they work since 2005. The
Yeah.
technology they used in 2005 to 2010 is probably outdated anyway. So it's not like it adds to the CV.
Yeah.
So I'll just keep that as a one page CV because the CV, unlike what others say, it's to get you the interview. It's not to land you a job.
Yeah.
So it's really about selling yourself on the CV, on why you're the exact good fit for them to like interview you.
Yeah.
Another thing I've noticed is that some links don't work or didn't work, so I would also like make sure that the links do work.
Yeah, of course. With colors as well, is it better to have everything one color, or like the links, for example, is it okay leaving them as blue?
I'd say it's good to have them blue so they know that you can click them. Because
Yeah.
right here, I thought you cannot click it, but I think you may if it's a PDF. I think it communicates that's like a clickable element and that
Yeah.
they can
Okay.
check. Because one thing I've noticed is that, like back in the days, you used to have a CV that you would print, so you wouldn't be able to click the links. But I
Yeah.
feel like now everything is digital, so people will literally click the link, and I feel like a CV can look different than this because this is something that people have been doing since like decades. But
Yeah.
I feel like you could probably have a better CV now that it's online and people click links. But that's something to like explore anyway.
Yeah.
Do you have like any questions with the CV or anything with him?
Yeah. So if I was to put like, you're saying some of the jobs that I've done previously, they're not
Mhm.
relevant. I would add that though. If I had space, would I add that under the experience bit as
Yeah,
well, or would I have a separate?
you could add like in the work experience.
Yeah. Okay.
If you had like space, I would probably just focus mainly on the coding bit
Uh-huh.
and the personal project that you're working on here. And then if you have space, you could, vary the transferable skills that you had from those jobs.
Yeah.
Because like it's the same like stacking shelves, like no one cares about that, right? So
Yeah.
the main focus for this CV is communicating on why you're a good fit for the role that you applied for.
Yeah.
And that's it basically.
Okay. And personal statement as well is you said it wasn't needed.
Yeah, it's not needed. Same like hobbies. For example, hobbies are it's like subjective. If you
Yeah.
have a hobby that a recruiter does not like, they may deem it a bad cultural fit and just bin it.
Okay.
On the
Yeah.
other hand, you can talk about hobbies and have like a better interest and see if the like interviewer also have an interest and build like a better rapport. But I would probably just leave the profile unless you have something like unique to say about yourself, and it's
Yeah.
no longer than like two sentences.
Yeah.
Same with like technical skills. Like I feel like technical skills like that it's fine, but there are many ways you can like go about a CV. And the
Yeah.
reason I put technical skills up instead of putting it at the bottom is that if you have a recruiter or a company, they can easily scan it and see if you're a good fit from
Yeah.
seeing the technical skills instead of looking at the stuff that you've been building at and trying to figure out what you do, which may increase the chance for them to bin the CV.
Yeah.
So that's why I've put it here. Same with the experience. That's more that's more interesting than education.
Yeah.
The thing that you work on your own time is more interesting than what you did at a boot camp.
Yeah.
And with uni, like I usually I personally never put any education on my CV, but also a lot of that probably does not matter. But because you have like math, I think that's like a honorable degree to put in. So I would leave it like here.
Yeah. Okay.
Because like math is like always useful in some way for all.
Yeah.
But if you had like some philosophy degree, that would be like a waste of space for a programming job, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And in terms of the, because another thing I've noticed is that you put, think your date on when you like graduated. I feel like you could take that away, and the reason is that they can figure out how old you are. And
Right.
I don't feel like you can just get rid of your graduation date and not let you them not let them discriminate you against like age, you know.
Yeah. The only thing is sometimes when I've spoken to people on the phone, it's like they want to know if I've had any gaps in my experience or education and whatever. So I thought that you would have to have the date there so they know you've not had these huge gaps.
It's like I'm not like was that with a recruiter or
Um, yeah, with companies as well, it was like when I was on like initial phone calls with them and stuff, they would always ask like, "Have you had any gaps longer than I don't know 6 months or something?" And obviously, if it's already saying that on my CV because they can see the dates and stuff, then I don't know if that's worth leaving in or is it just should I just take it out then?
like you could do like A/B testing. So you could take that out, send that CV to top 10 companies, see
Yeah.
what they say and reply, and try to be like vague about it. Because I don't feel like I don't think I don't feel like it even matters.
Hmm.
One thing that I've done is I put dates out of my CV, and when I put them in, it seems like my success rate went down for like numerous reasons. So
Right.
I feel like if you just keep it like straight without like the dates, that can be better. But then again, I feel like you can do A/B testing. That's something that works better for me. So in your case might be different.
Yeah. Here and there.
Right.
But yeah, that's really good.
Well,
I appreciate your help.
okay, hopefully that helps out, and let me know if it does.
Yeah, no, I will do. Thank you though.
Right. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. Yeah, you too.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.